let's get started.
All right.
Go ahead.
First item on the agenda is the Vireo supplemental agreement for the family area in the community park. This is the design of the part of the LWCF, the year-round restrooms, the playground layout, the picnic shelters, the perimeter walk, and asphalt parking, as well as lighting, the lighting layout around there. So, cost for it is $76,000. They did it, I don't know why they broke it up. They broke out the playground request for proposals. We need them to do that. They'll lay out the footprints that we can go out then to the playground manufacturers to spec out the playground equipment.
I guess I thought that it was an option that the playground manufacturers would do all of that as part of the cost of the equipment.
They can, they do, yeah, they do the fall protection area with it.
That's my guess as to the reason they broke that out separate, is if we just have playground people do that
Okay.
directly. Have you gone through everything and all looks good to you?
It does.
Pricing scope, everything?
We've worked with Vireo, we're currently working with them right now in the community park. They did our master plans, we've worked with them for a number of years. I'd say it's, I would recommend we enter into the agreement with Vireo for the supplemental design work.
Comments from everybody? Anybody?
It'll include all of the family area, road and everything, correct?
Yes,
For that.
just a concept of a road, it's not gonna include, civil plans to build the road.
Okay. But it'll be there for the future for when we get ready to.
Yeah, because we'll have to figure out where that roadway ties in, to figure out exactly how the playground lays. There was a push from the park board to clear the additional area to the north to lay out another soccer field, non-lit, non-irrigated, but it will still be
Open green space.
Right.
used as a practice soccer field.
Yeah, it says connector road.
Right.
I think that's the one, if you look at the map here, that would be this one right there.
Yeah, it says connector road
Going down to
from the
8th Street,
southwest corner of the park at
Yeah.
8th Street, yeah.
but 8th Street, I don't think would be part of that 8th Street proper, or what used
No.
to be 8th Street.
No.
Any other comments? No, then do we have a motion to enter into the agreement?
I'll make the motion to enter into the agreement. Just wait to get those or anything.
Jimmy?
What?
Should we take a note?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to enter the agreement with Vireo, the supplemental agreement for the family area and the community park.
Second. Any discussion?
Real quick, will that include like the grant writing and everything also for that?
Grant writing.
Like the writing the grant?
It doesn't.
Or that they've already done all that?
It doesn't include any grant writing.
Okay.
We've already, you mean
We've already got that one though, for it.
We already have
So
it.
that's taken care of.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Yep.
That's what I just wanted to clarify, make sure.
Yeah.
So.
any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 9-1, 9-0.
8.
No,
8-8.
when it's not.
Wendy's not here, okay.
I will get this, over to Vireo tomorrow, and we'll get moving on this quickly. The next item is the upcoming grant applications. Right now, I think what we're recommending as staff is that, we wanna look at, going after the LWCF grant, which is what, Chris, you were just asking about, I misunderstood. For,
Okay. Yeah, that's a different discussion, so.
Yeah, the first time around we did the LWCF with Virgil was on, I think we had $250,000 to do the baseball field, so it includes the mass earthwork moving for the baseball fields. And the $300,000 for the playground family amenity area. And then we could look at again, applying for another grant for the LWCF for this upcoming round. Deadlines are February 16th. We could look at adding in the additional pickleball courts, the roadway. That's just a concept at this point, actually paving the roadway in there. Additional parking. Yep, thank you. So, there's also a trails grant. I know we kind of kicked around that idea, but we think it makes more sense at this point to work on the trails grant for the reservoir area and finish the ADA trail around there, or at least write a grant for that aspect of it. And at this time, just have us as the parks look at, focus on the community park. I don't know if anybody has any questions or, but applying for the grant, there's always a match. Our last two, since we're putting the $6 million out already, it was a pretty easy match, so we'd have to come up with a cash match for this one, probably around $50,000, but again, I would recommend that we move forward and look for the additional grant monies that are available to do the roadways, the pickleball courts, shelters, parking, lighting.
Your estimate is about 50,000 cash match is what we'd have to come up with.
Probably, yes.
And that's something that could, in theory, come out of the leftover budget on this project?
The savings, the bid savings.
Correct, the as of yet allocated budget.
Correct.
Okay. Any comments on grants, LWCF, and RTP?
I will add that we are still moving forward with the easements. I know Chris has been working really hard on that, across the railroad bridge on the other side of Interstate 35, between 35 and Bob Griffin Road. So we're still working on easements on that.
That was the other, just to fill in for anybody that may be unfamiliar, Chris has been working on securing access across the I-35 bridge, the old railroad bridge, and easements across private property over to Bob Griffin Road on the east side of the interstate.
You might do that Gabriel house.
Yeah, there's two ones over there. Over to the east, over to Bob Griffin, following probably the original railroad line, actually shifting just off to the north of it. But that was another topic brought up as a potential for the RTP grant, Recreational Trails Program. It's my opinion that looking citywide as a whole, pushing to finish the paved trail loop is a more pressing priority in terms of timing.
And then we try to go for it.
I would like to see both done in the long term, but looking at applying for which one we apply for first, it makes more sense to me to try to finish the reservoir trail. Is this something we need to vote on, Drew?
I don't know, no, it does not require a vote, just looking for some direction from the board, if that's what you guys.
Just like y'all want to type direction.
Does anyone object to recommending that we pursue the LWCF grant for further improvements at the park and allow the reservoir to pursue the RTP grant for trail additions?
I'd hate to try to get free money.
I was gonna say.
And
If we don't pay for free money, let's move.
the general consensus was, and I spoke to the mayor last night for a little bit about it, the general consensus was if either the parks are not applying or the reservoir is not applying, then somebody within the city needs to be applying for all of the grants. And, you know, if the reservoir folks decide to decline to apply, then I say absolutely we apply. But, if they are interested, then I say we back off and allow them to apply for the RTP grant this go round.
Do we know and we'll know whether or not we decide to do it or not?
Steve, do you know, is that definitely that their trails are interested, the reservoir is interested in applying for the RTP grant?
Well, I look at what you just said, and that is the order of priority. It seems to me the first one is a LWCF grant for the parks, and then the second one is the trail grant, and that is for the ADA trail, and they ought to go in that priority, I think.
Yeah, well, they're two separate grants. I see a priority ranking for each. I put the park as number one priority for LWCF. The ADA trail as number one priority for the RTP.
Are those two in competition with each other? Grant, or Drew, I don't understand how that grant works. Are those two in different grant applications, or they come from the same department, the same pot of money?
Yes to both of those, actually. They are both administered through the Department of Natural Resources, but they are two separate grants.
So it's not like they're not in competition. Those are not in competition.
Those two are not in competition, they're separate.
It's not an either or.
Yeah, okay.
So if you clarify for me, who's the reservoir people, the water department?
It would be Steve Gar under Reservoir.
That's
Yes.
I just assumed that.
And last year,
It's the reservoir people. Wasn't sure if it was a group of people out there. So, okay, just verify.
to clarify further on Steve Rasmussen's question is that, are they in competition? Last year, I actually wrote an RTP grant and an LWCF grant, and we got the recreational trails grant. It'll take and pave another 0.35 miles of trail down to the corner, where it's in the water, I guess, kind of on the western side of the trail. So the reservoir people will start working on that grant.
Didn't know that. Board or group of people.
No.
That hurt.
All right. So
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
That's good
We'll
for
start
you.
working on it. If I have any questions, I'll email and or ask you guys at our next meeting.
All right. Anything else from you under new business?
Nope.
Miscellaneous, I would like to schedule some, the committee meetings we talked about at the last board meeting, however many months ago that was. Two topics. Number one, we need to name the park. And number two, go back through the budget as it stands right now and look to see if there's any places to expand currently or just get a better handle on what that budget looks like currently and how we move forward from this point. So my.
Are you talking the general budget or the budget?
The park budget, the tax budget, yeah. Basically the unallocated funds towards the new park. So my recommendation for how to do that was basically just a committee of the whole. Get together, everybody sit around the table and talk through the topics and move on. It wouldn't be an official meeting, so we wouldn't take official action. But that seems to me to be the best way to move forward rather than trying to break down into smaller groups or anything. So to me, the naming of the park is it's becoming a pressing priority, needing to get that done sooner rather than later. Does anybody not have availability this next Thursday for this committee meeting? So a week from tonight?
Well, if it's a full board, it would have to be the public board meeting.
It would be a public meeting. It wouldn't be an actual board meeting. It would be a committee of the whole meeting. But yes, it would be a
We're
public
not
session.
voting on anything, we're not
Correct.
making a motion on anything.
Correct.
And do you have to have a quorum to hold that meeting, or is it literally whoever shows
I
up?
think it's literally whoever shows up, and if people don't have a care in the world about naming of the park, then don't show up.
I care, but I do have some folks in town, and I'm just trying to see what my priority might be.
Yeah, understood, because I don't care.
Do you like them?
They come so far away to see.
Bring them along, they can be public.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, it's been 3,000 miles an hour.
But that should not hold up the meeting, so we should proceed, if I can make it, I will.
Is there objection to 6 o'clock a week from tonight, Thursday of next week? Drew, can you pull that together for us?
You bet.
Thank you.
For a committee meeting, since, there is public participation, we'll probably just pull the tables together and meet in the lower room.
Yeah.
If it's available.
That sounds good to me. Anything else under miscellaneous? Who would like to take Wendy's place and motion us into executive session?
I got that earlier.
I know, how are we gonna do this?
Al, you're up.
I move that we go into, our committee, our closed committee. Executive is the name of it. Wendy, where are you when we need you?
For the purposes of personnel.
Personnel purposes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris.
This is a roll call vote, right?
Who's second?
Chris?
Oh. Bill?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yep.
Al?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Motion carries.